Hey everybody, my name is Paul Eston Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to the Jet Zone, a late edition of the program. It is a weekly New York Jets podcast. And of course, you can be watching live every single Wednesday right here on the Jet Zone. Again, that is streaming live right now on youtube.com/boygreen25, on the Facebook page for the Jet Zone, on the Twitter page for the Jet Zone. And of course, the option is always available to listen to this audio later at your convenience. And feel free to do that wherever you listen to your podcast. That audio podcast has been available for the last decade, the video over the last year and a half or so. Well, first off, everybody, welcome to the program. Feel free to get involved on the show. If you're listening live, this is an interactive program. And you can feel free to comment live on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and make sure, simply a reminder, like the video and hit subscribe down below for all kinds of New York Jets content. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to get to here on the show. Well, first off, a couple of things. Let's react to the latest roster cuts coming in. The Jets, along with every other NFL team, had to cut their rosters from 85 players to 80 players on Tuesday, August 23rd. And here were the cuts for the New York Jets. They got rid of fan favorite Elijah Riley, a guy they initially stole off the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad last year, a guy I liked a lot, unfortunately, was not making the same plays he was during the regular season last year in this offseason. It was a wide open competition, so the world was his oyster. Unfortunately, Elijah Riley could not seize the day, so to speak. However, landed on his feet pretty quickly earlier today, getting claimed off of waivers by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So shout out there to Elijah Riley. And Zach Rosenblatt, by the way, tweeted this out earlier, that he does not believe Riley will be the last player that is claimed, a former Jets player that is claimed by another NFL team, which again speaks to the talent increase for the New York Jets. Some other ones, let's go to the other big one, Eddie Pinheiro. Bye-bye, Eddie P, a.k.a. Eddie Money. I will say this. With a mini kicker rant to quote-unquote, pun intended, kick off this Jet Zone episode, as Greg Zuerlein, as the only other kicker, obviously wins the kicking job here. Here's the thing I always didn't like about Eddie Pinheiro. Not to try to kick a guy while he's down, of course, but nonetheless, Eddie Pinheiro always had a limited sample size. This guy had 1 year of NFL experience in 2019. In 2020, he missed the entire year because of injuries. And then he joined the Jets in December of last year, and he was perfect. El Perfecto at 8 for 8 from the field. However, the limited sample size, the fact that, you know, the Jets have dipped their toe in these kind of waters before where they kind of catch lightning in a bottle. They invest in the guy and then he flops and fails them. So Greg Zuerlein is an absolute pro's pro. This is a guy that's got all-world experience, a former Pro Bowler, a former All-Pro, and also the Hall of Fame of nicknames, Legatron. I mean, come on, people. And Greg the Leg most recently. Both of those nicknames are supreme. Nonetheless, Greg Zuerlein, by the way, winning this job. Here's a fun fact where I don't know how fun this is, but it is, in fact, a fact. Randy Lange, a historian for the NewYorkJets.com, has worked for the team for a long time. With Greg Zuerlein winning this kicking job, the Jets will now have 7 different opening day kickers in 7 years. I mean, that is an unbelievable musical chair statistic. And hopefully, Greg Zuerlein and his veteran chutzpah can finally end all the hoopla that's been here at the kicker position. I will tell you, the only problem over the last couple of years with Greg Zuerlein has been the troublesome back injury. Now, Brant Boyer, the Jets' current special teams coordinator, says that's no longer an issue. That's a thing in the past. He has looked completely healthy. And if that's the case, and by the way, he looked phenomenal. I think earlier today went 6 for 6, including a near 60-plus yard field goal. And what a way to kick off after winning the kicking job officially after the roster cut. So Greg Zuerlein looks fantastic. Eddie Pinheiro, I always had concern with the limited sample size, so I'm glad they added legitimate competition to the room this offseason, and they did, and he ended up winning the job. So Eddie Pinheiro, I'm sure we'll find an NFL home somewhere. He's a very solid guy, a guy with a lot of upside, but I'm glad the Jets went with the veteran savvy, which will be key this season. The other cuts are guys that you would have expected. Caleb Bennycock, who actually looked pretty good in the preseason, but again, his path to the 53-man roster looked difficult. Isaiah Williams, another guy where, again, He was talented, of course, but simply just didn't live up to the chops. And then, of course, one of the most surprising ones was Kai Nakua, who is a guy I love, a converted safety to linebacker, a very talented player, a guy I thought had practice squad potential, who is a thumper, special teamer. I thought he checked off a lot of boxes. So Kai Nakua is one in particular that I was mildly surprised by. I thought he was going to, at the very least, make it to roster cuts next week, which again, this week, Tuesday, 85 to 80. Next week, a ritual bloodletting. Every NFL team must cut their rosters from 80 all the way to 53. Of course, there is the expanded 16-man practice squad, but there's going to be a lot of roster movement happening for the New York Jets and more for teams in the league. So keep an eye out for that. We've got a very busy episode. Those are the latest roster cuts coming in, and the Elijah Riley news as well working its way in here. Again, make sure you feel free to comment, like the video, hit subscribe, and get involved throughout today's program. We'll introduce a couple of our viewers and listeners that are checking in here live. We got Snowball in Squad. Welcome to the show, Snowball. And I see several members of my YouTube channel, which, by the way, guys, a couple of ways you guys can support the channel. Feel free to become a member of the Boy Green Super Fan Club. For, as my boy Buffalo Jet fan often says, for a cup of coffee, you can support the channel, the equipment, the time and effort and energy that goes into the show. And you guys are going to be pretty buzzed with what's coming up during the regular season, where we are basically on air every single day of the week with brand new, unique content. So again, that's coming up, and you can support it by either being a YouTube member, or you could do one-offs. And while you're seeing us live here on the show, do the YouTube Super Chat. Is available to anyone that's watching on YouTube, so feel free to hop on over there. You throw a tip into my tin can and say, dance, monkey, and I will do a jig for you. And also, of course, give you a shout-out here on the show. So what better than that? So those are a couple of ways you guys can support the show live. Speaking of Kobe, yes, sir, Kobe DeCan joining us. Hey, y'all, what's up? One of the first member. That is going to be on a trivia night in the future. We're like, who was the first member of the Boy Green Super Fan Club? Kobe was. Yes, sir, you bet your cheeks. Welcome to the show, baby. John Hepburn, hey, fellers, what's happening? Love it. As Kobe said, smash that like button. You can never do it enough. If you're in here, it's absolutely free. Even if you don't want to throw any money at me, well, hit the like and subscribe button. It's absolutely free. What do you have to lose? Great point there by Kobe. Maximilian, welcome to the show. How is everyone doing tonight? Great. Very busy day. I will say I invested in a PlayStation 5, so I jumped on the PS5 train. That was very nice. Still in the box because, again, podcast first. Priorities, people. That's always important. So yeah, we're doing pretty well. Let's see. Snowball Legatron. I love that nickname. Buffalo Jet fan, right on cue, boys. Welcome to the show. Buffalo Jet fan, a good friend of mine. By the way, you guys can catch our live streams. We do one every Monday night. And normally it's at 8 o'clock, and there's no more Monday Night Football on the schedule for the Jets, so that time will no longer be moved. So every Monday, 8 o'clock, Buffalo Jet Fans YouTube channel. Feel free to watch us live, and we answer questions and do a lot of fun stuff. So feel free, guys, to pay attention to that for the schedule. Robert S., yes, let's go to one of the headlines on the YouTube video and also on the podcast headline, wherever you're reading it. Chris Streveler, in my opinion, is moving up the depth chart. Of course, here is the hierarchy. The Jets have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. Zach Wilson, of course, when healthy, is QB1. That is not up for debate. Joe Flacco is QB2. No debate there. He is the veteran. That's who's going to be starting if Zach Wilson is out. And then we get into the interesting conversation of QB3. Now, I'm sure a lot of people assumed heading into the season, that's Mike White. Of course, Hall of Fame game. Mike F.N. White. Blee, blah, blue, blah, blah. He's QB3. And Chris Streveler, as was described by Zach Rosenblatt and others, is nothing more than a camp arm. And he didn't even get team reps until after the Eagles game, which only fed into that narrative. And to be honest, Mike White's played like crap. Absolute crap. And to be quite blunt, to be quite honest with you, he's been terrible since the Bengals game. I mean, he had that Bengals game. It was cool in a vacuum. Amazing. Again, I've admitted this embarrassment for quite some time, that ultimately the fact of the matter is this, is that, you know, I was supposed to be at that Mike White Bengals game, and it didn't happen because I'm a loser. I absolutely passed on the opportunity when Zach Wilson got hurt. I'm like, I'm not paying all these Mondo bucks to go see some guy named Mike White. And obviously that was a tragic mistake. But since that point, And the game I actually ended up paying to go to was the Buffalo game, and it was terrible. But the point is this, is that Mike White has not looked good since. He's looked questionable in the preseason. He's looked questionable in camp. And Chris Streveler has shown signs of life. When this dude has been inserted into the lineup for the Jets, it happened in the Eagles game. And I went, oh, one game. Okay, that looked pretty good. And then he did it again. Lightning struck twice in the same place against the Falcons. There was instant offense. He brings a palpable energy, not only to the locker room, but to the team. This is exactly what you want as your QB3, QB2, because again, if Zach Wilson is hurt for week 1, then Streveler could be QB2 for that game. And also, I will give a tip of the cap to both Michael Obermuller, my partner on Heavy on Jets, and Connor J. Rogers of the Bad Lunch podcast, who both made this comment that Chris Streveler is more likened of game to Zach Wilson, which means it would be a lot easier to replace Zach Wilson with Chris Streveler in the lineup if an injury were to occur, because he plays more like him. He is more mobile of a quarterback. Joe Flacco has the mobility of a parked car. I mean, obviously there is nothing there. That's been the case for 20 years, for Pete's sake. And Mike White isn't much better at that perspective. So to have Chris Streveler, who's got some athletic juice, who can step in and make some noise. And to me, he obviously has this Ryan Fitzpatrick-esque thing to his game, former CFL champion. He, of course, you've seen the picture if you read the Zach Rosenblatt piece of The Athletic, and even before that, of the Stogie, the fur coat, the cowboy hat, the pizzazz, the sizzle, the sex appeal. I mean, it's like, Chuck Norris has been reincarnated as a quarterback of the New York Jets. So to me, I think Chris Streveler's looked great. Some of the criticism I've heard from the fans is, well, he's playing against second and third string. Well, what choice does he have? He doesn't pick when he goes in the game. He just goes in the game and dominates. And for those hoping for him to finally get a chance against quote-unquote starters against the Giants, that's not going to happen. We'll talk about this at some point during the show if you guys have questions about it. We'll also just talk about in general. It's news that the Jets have one more preseason game to go. It's against the New York Giants. Joint practices start tomorrow. We are recording again on a Wednesday, August 24th at just before 8:30 p.m. So just so you guys have that note, that joint practices start on Thursday, and in general, that the final preseason games coming up this week. Robert Saleh confirmed to the media today that he hasn't locked it in 100%, but all of his starters are expected to play. Everyone is going to play, and they're expected to play for a quarter and a half, give or take. So, which means Streveler obviously will not be playing those starters in any estimation or combination. So we will see what happens there. But to me, Streveler's been wicked impressive. He's been a pleasant surprise. He's an exciting player, one of the most exciting players that I've ever seen in Jets preseason. And maybe that's saying something, maybe that's not. I don't know. I think Streveler has been an absolute unit. So I'm really excited about him. Robert S., have you heard anything about DQ Thomas? This is the talented undrafted free agent that got the absolute bag in terms of all undrafted free agents from the New York Jets. I'm going to be honest, Robert, I have heard absolutely diddly squat. I've been trying to talk to a few beat reporters. Obviously, you guys have seen some of the guests we've had on the show, from beat reporters to insiders to everything else. And I've asked about DQ Thomas. Now, obviously, it's a great sign that he's still on the team, of course, as we head into the final wave of roster cuts next Tuesday. And they give him a lot of money. So obviously they have some financial skin in the game to want to prolong and keep DQ Thomas as long as possible. But I've heard nothing. But obviously I was very intrigued by the college tape. He's both linebacker, pass rusher, everything, man, and they gave him a nice chunk of change to make all that happen. But I've heard nothing on it. So he will be a guy to ask. We have a couple of interviews floating in the mix with a potential member of the Jets beat that's never joined our show before, potentially joining us either tomorrow or late tonight for tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. All our YouTube members, you guys will get that interview early. That's another perk of being a part of the YouTube membership club before it goes out to the rest of the public. So one of those two, hopefully I could find out more about it, Robert. So I'll try to remember that one for the interview. Good question. But no, I've heard absolutely nothing so far. Let's go back to Kobe here. How's Flacco looking? I mean, to me, Joe Flacco has just been incredibly solid. He's a guy that even has shown some wheels on a couple occasions. Again, mobility of a parked car. So it just really isn't there. But in terms of Flacco, I expect this Jets offense to have a very high floor. Now, how high is the ceiling? I don't know if we're getting 2015 Ryan Fitzpatrick here with Flacco, but I just think he's a rock solid dude that I think will be a nice guy that could keep everything moving, move the chains, and get this offense moving and grooving. I think Elijah Moore is still going to be a factor. Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, Breece Hall, these guys are all going to be dudes with Flacco. We're not talking about Luke Falk. We're not talking about David Fales, some incapable quarterback that can't even move the ball. I expect big things from Joe Flacco. Another YouTube member, Daniel Faust. Hi, BG. What's poppin', Daniel? Welcome to the program, my friend, and thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Maximilian, I'm mad they cut Elijah Riley. He was another Long Island guy who didn't get the same love as Ruckert. No, he didn't. I think he did initial. Well, let me clarify that. He never got, obviously, the amazing, fanfare that Jeremy Ruckert got when he was drafted, the Jets thing and everything. And part of that is drafted as a high third-round pick versus being claimed off of a practice squad as he was from the Philadelphia Eagles. So Elijah Riley got a little bit of pop, and when he played well, I remember I wrote a piece that went viral about Elijah Riley, about, how he's kind of like a secret sauce and the Jets love him and future starter potentially, but he just didn't seize those opportunities in camp. So I was disappointed, but I mean, Riley's got no one to blame but himself ultimately at the end of the day, which I would have solace in as a player because there was an obvious starting spot somewhat quasi available. Unfortunately, Elijah never made the plays. So at least at that point, it's not like you went to a situation like the Jets defensive line, which is incredibly deep. And you could say to yourself, it's not fair. I never got a real chance. It was too deep. That was not the case at safety. So Elijah has no one to blame but himself. And again, he landed on his feet. For those who missed it, he was claimed by the Pittsburgh Steelers off of waivers earlier today. So he'll have one more whack the pinata with preseason game coming. Jets gang, Mike White should be cut. I hope you could trade him, but to be honest with you, with what he has shown so far, I just don't think he's a tradable piece. But right now, I would, again, at this current moment, with gun to my head, I'd pick Streveler over Mike White. But we'll see what the Jets staff feels about it, because they obviously have a lot more tape on White than they do Streveler, for both good and bad. Dave Etchenberry, hey now, what's poppin', everybody? Stephen Engel, welcome to the show. Ryder and Talon's Pa, Paul, you're the best. Thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Trin the Great, sup guys, what's poppin'? Let's see. Keep it going. JETS, yo, what's hoppin'? Welcome to the show. Let's see. Robert S. This kid just has this energy about him, Streveler. Yeah, and that to me is exciting. He's a kid that didn't have a lot of opportunities, and he didn't, and try not to swear too often on this program, but he didn't bitch and complain. He just said, all right, these are my opportunities. I just got to ball out, and I just really love his moxie. I love the cut of his jib. Let's see. Stephen Engel. Don't matter, because if Mike White or Streveler are playing games this year for us, it means the shit hit the fan. Now, there is a certain reality and harsh reality to that, Stephen, that is correct, obviously, that if Zach Wilson is hurt for any great length of time, then the season's probably over. Even Joe Flacco. I mean, for a handful of games, I could believe in Flacco. For an entire season, I don't know. I'm not sure. But the talent level of this team is so good that I think whoever's playing quarterback is going to be in a really good spot. But to me, again, quarterback's always important. It's New York, and Streveler's the story of the preseason. I know some people don't want to talk about him, but I got to tell you, man, I am all over Streveler, especially since I got a trending article on him that's popping on my website right now. Heavy.com for all you New York Jet fans out there. Heavy on Jets. Make sure you check it out. That's where I write all my articles, multiple articles every day on all things Gang Green. Feel free to show your support there. Let's see. Ryder and Talon, Pa, White, Mims, Wesco can all go. Again, Mims are going to try to trade. I think there's going to be someone out there who gives them something. Now, what is it? We'll have to see. Trayvon Wesco, again, I'm kind of ready to move on. It's cool that he was with Zach Wilson out in Idaho, but not enough for me. I'd be willing to move on to either Cager and even Nick Bodden over him, quite frankly. Would be better. Again, sunken costs with the draft pick. Let's see. Jets need someone like Strev to complement Zach. White is a pocket passer only. Flacco is too, but he is Flacco. Yeah, that's my exact point. Again, he is very close to Zach Wilson, which I think should help. Kareem Mitchell. It was the play call, not Streveler. That's possible, but Mike White had the play calls and he didn't deliver, so I'm not sure if I'm going to believe that, to be honest with you. The play calls were upgraded when Streveler went in. Get your aluminum foil, everybody. Wrap it around your head for conspiracy theories. No, I mean, it's not like the offensive coordinator is trying to sabotage Mike White, and that being Mike LaFleur, by the way. No, I just think Streveler beat him out straight up. Now, just because a guy outplays you in the preseason doesn't guarantee you the job, as we are all firmly aware with all the Jets preseason stars of the past, and then they end up getting cut. Greg Dortch, wow, great guy, cut. Deontay Burnett, wow, great guy, cut. So it doesn't always work out that way. And, Jaw, that's a great point, too. Streveler could be a good gadget guy in situational packages. Connor Rogers mentioned that on this week's episode of the Badlands podcast. Let's keep going here. John Hepburn, Jets Giants preseason is notorious for season-ending injuries. Yeah, we had the Mark Sanchez one, of course. I love the Calvin Pace, Eli Manning hit. That was good. That wasn't out for the season, but that was phenomenal content. But yeah, so let's hope. There was a lot of great stories. Got to give a shout out to Rich Cimini, Jordan Renan, Zach Rosenblatt on the joint practices. This will be the first joint practice between the Jets and Giants since 2005. Remember the Jeremy Shockey fight, Jonathan Vilma, Eric Barton, Tom Coughlin saying up yours, and Donnie Henderson says up yours, and oh man, it was great. And then the battle in New York and Big Brother, Little Brother, a lot of great content. So hopefully no injuries, of course. It's the last round of joint practices. And, of course, all the starters are going to play outside of something crazy. So let's just hope for no injuries on both sides. And Robert Sauer said it today. That he said, hey, I know joint practices haven't happened in like whatever it is, 17, 18 years here, but I want it to continue to happen. They're right down the road. It makes all the sense in the world. So we will see if that continues. Trin the Great. If Sauce keeps playing the way he has, he's going to be scaring quarterbacks across the league for years to come. I will say this right now, he's not a starting corner for the New York Jets. Robert Saleh had the opportunity. It was weird because after the preseason game, so Robert Saleh says, my starters were playing against the Giants. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, interesting. That stunned me because in most cases, it's somewhat unorthodox for teams to play their starters in the final preseason game. So that kind of raised my eyebrow, like, interesting. Like, okay. We could talk about the pros and cons of starters playing and injuries and all those things, but that kind of raised my eyebrow. And then he said, in anticipation of that, we plan on having a dress rehearsal against the Giants. In other words, we want our starters locked in so they could kind of get a feel, i.e., we spoke about it earlier, Greg Zuerlein's the kicker, and other positional battles are going to somewhat lock in so they can have an actual game to go through before the Ravens game. Well, another one of those battles was at corner because we had DJ Reed, he's a starter. Michael Carter the second in the slot, he's a starter. And then this competition, I say in quotes, between Bryce Hall and Sauce Gardner. Bryce Hall is a guy I like a lot. He just got roasted against the Falcons. And Sauce Gardner was a 4th overall pick in the draft. He was the highest drafted defender by Joe Douglas. And the one previous to that was Ashton Davis. Like Sauce Gardner, of course, is going to start. However, Robert Saleh continues to play coy. He refused to name a starter earlier today when asked the question. And he says, we're continuing a quote-unquote rotation between Bryce Hall and Sauce Gardner. I don't get why he's just, dicking around here. I've got no clue. But hopefully it's just motivation for both sides to continue to compete because obviously Sauce is the starter, should be the starter, and I don't know how much more we got to talk about. But Sauces look really good. I will show the clip. Let's throw that one up there. This is from earlier today at practice. I'm going to throw this up here on the big board. Sauce Gardner versus Braxton Berrios, which, by the way, of course, is a mismatch. But nonetheless, Sauce has just been a super exciting player to watch both in practice, during games, and all the hoopla. So let me find this clip. I tweeted out a couple of clips from Jets practice today. And shout out to the Jets official app for all these highlights. Are also available on the Jets official YouTube channel. So let's throw that one up on the big board here, guys, in case you missed it. Again, you guys can always follow me on Twitter at BoyGreen25. Here's Sauce Gardner denying access to Braxton Berrios during practice. Joe Flacco chucks one deep. Sauce Gardner says, no, not today. Of course, obviously, Sauce Gardner is 6'3", and Braxton Berrios is 5'0". But you get the point. You just see the impressive stride for stride. He's an incredibly talented. I mean, this was an absolute. I mean, he had no chance. Braxton Berrios had absolutely no chance here, obviously, against Sauce Gardner. Look at him absolutely denying access. He is lanky. And he talks trash. I just really love what I see there. So shout out there to one and only Sauce Gardner. who, by the way, is not a starter. So hopefully that is clarified by the end of the week. But good stuff there, Trent. Ed Vargas, a great supporter of the channel. And again, you see this gold color. That is a YouTube super chat, which skips the line and supports the channel and allows me to do all the wonderful things we've been able to do for the show as it continues to grow. As we're 2.26 or something thousand subscribers. It's all thanks to each and every one of you, including you, Ed Vargas. Paul, how is my friend? I hope you and the family are well. Wife and I are going to opening game, hoping you will be there and be able to meet you in person. You are the best. Ed, I can 100% confirm to you and every other person that has been a supporter of the Boy Green channel or not. If you hate me, you can feel free to tell me in person what a loser you think I am. I feel free to open up to any of those comments, both good and bad. You know, like when people say, hey, give a review to my podcast, 5-star only. No, you guys can give me any review you prefer. Half star, like longest yard, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, whatever you believe you could give me. Again, I do radio as my day job, so I get all kinds of calls every day. So I appreciate both bad calls and good calls. And for that matter, to reconfirm, to reiterate, Boy Green will be live at Jets Ravens Week 1. I will, of course, be there with my beautiful fiance and my 7-month-old daughter tomorrow. Happy early birthday. I don't even know if you could call it a birthday. I'm very confused by that. When children are 1 and under, like birthday, is it not a birthday until the first year? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But what I can tell you is this, is that me, my fiance, my baby will be there at the game. So the baby will get the first taste of the Jets experience at MetLife Stadium. And if you guys would like to hang out and party with old Boy Green, I will be partying there at and with the Middle Initial Podcast. We'll be doing a party from 9 to 12. I believe the ticket is $30. And for that $30 ticket, you're going to get food. Of course, you got to feed yourself before the game. You get liquor if that's where you'd like to dabble. I'm not a big liquor guy myself, but hey, different strokes, different folks. And of course, you'll get to meet me, Antoine Staley, the new New York Jets beat reporter for the New York Daily News, the entire cast and crew, of course, of the Middle Initial Podcast, other celebrities and guests. They will have a photographer there to take pictures with you and all of us, and those will be available, I'm sure, on the Middle Initial social media and podcast platforms. So we have a whole party going on. And again, if you'd like more details, just simply search for the Middle Initial Podcast on Twitter, and you'll see the link in their timeline. And on their timelines, they tweet about it every day. So again, it's a $30 ticket, but you get food, booze, hang out with me, and have a great time. And we're just going to rally it up. I'm going to talk Jets, hang out with all you. So, Ed, I hope to meet you and your wonderful family. I hope to meet any of you guys for the first time. I'd love to put names to faces. I sometimes see these, YouTube logos like Ed Vargas or Charlie M or Dark Soldier Crew. I don't know. I haven't even seen him in here yet. Or Kobe or some of these guys that get to meet you guys first. Go, holy crap, that's Kobe or Ed Vargas or this guy or that guy or this girl or that girl. So it's going to be a wild party. Week 1's going to be insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. So I'm absolutely looking forward to meeting all of you. So I will be there. I'll be partying in the pregame tailgate for 3 hours or so. And of course, I'll be at the game. So hopefully I get to meet as many of you as possible. That would be so cool. That's the only game I have on the docket right now. But I'm hoping to go to another game at some point in the middle of the season. Hopefully I could connect with a couple other people, maybe some media members or others or some fans. So we could have a big cool meetup or something. So that's all in the works. But week 1, guaranteed, Ed, I will be there. And I hope to meet you and several others. Again, for more information, go to the Middle Initial Podcast on social media for all the details, and make sure you book your ticket so you guys can stop by and have a lot of fun. It's going to be so cool. Charles M. on YouTube and Ed Vargas, thanks again for the super chat, buddy. You know that means the world to me, brother. Charles M. Mims has skills, but doesn't show that toughness and hunger on the field that you need to succeed in the NFL. Again, it's just been wildly inconsistent. So he's on special teams in the preseason game against the Falcons, another penalty. The penalties are killer. The inconsistency and effort is tough. Again, I think he ultimately gets traded. That's my prediction. I'll try to do a 53-man roster prediction either over the weekend before the Giants game or something. So stay tuned for that. We'll have that up on the channel. But I think he gets traded. And look, Jamie, I'm the first one to hit that like button, baby. If I had an award to give you, Jamie, I would give it to you, brother. I love it. So like the video. It's absolutely free to do to support the channel. Let's go to Barney here. It's the emotion Streveler brings. White brought it for a game and a half last year. Now White's playing scared. Play loose, Jets. Absolutely, Barney. I got to say, man, he just brings a care, a passion. Obviously, he's got a story that he's fighting for his life out there. And again, there is that, hard Knoxian thing to him where, again, he was told he was a camp arm, but sometimes we are laid a destiny out in front of us, Barney, and then we can change it by doing something about it. And Chris Streveler did that. Mike LaFleur said he wasn't even supposed to play in the Eagles game, but the injury to Zach Wilson caused a major domino effect to their quarterback rotation, and he just happened to go out there with 0 team reps, and he just said, backyard football, turn the hat backwards, let's ride, baby. And he was impressive. And then he had an encore performance against the Falcons. So he's changing his own destiny. At a minimum, he's got a practice squad spot on the Jets. We will see if anyone claims him off of waivers, or of course, if he could just upset Mike White and steal the QB3 job straight up. We will see if that happens as well. Ryder, Ashton Davis can go also. That one I'm split on, Ryder. Obviously, he's proven absolutely nothing in the NFL. There's no question about it. An athletic piece of clay, I think, in theory, on paper, and I get those are, caveats that you have to consider. He is a perfect center fielder to complement Jordan Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead is a freak tackler, box safety, but also he's got versatility. He can play on the back end too. But if you could complement the center fielder ball hockey in with Ashton Davis and Jordan Whitehead, you would have a phenomenal combination. Obviously, Ashton Davis has not been able to contribute immediately, and he's been able to not consistently make plays. Right now, the starters are going to be LaMarcus Joyner or Jordan Whitehead. Jason Pinnock is going to make this roster as that long-term guy to replace Joyner. And they really like Will Park, so he could be that fourth safety. But I like Ashton Davis, but he needs to prove it at the end of the day. Nothing is given in this league. Everything is earned for that. Maximilian, BG, are you on the Streveler bandwagon? Do you think he beats out White after a stunning performance against players that won't be on NFL rosters? I love what you did there, Maximilian, that you gave that almost backhanded compliment to Streveler. Nice work squeezing that in there. I am 100% on the Streveler bandwagon. He's been an incredibly exciting player. He's got a great personality. The locker room has jived with him. And to be honest, again, all the Mike White truthers out there, and I know you guys are out there, I just have to simply say that, again, show me beyond the Bengals game what this dude has done. And I will give you a spoiler alert. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Zip and pip is what we've seen from Mike White. So to me, they may just ride with Mike White and say, hey, the longevity, they resign him as a restricted free agent, just say, hey, you know what, Streveler's been impressive, but they may say what you say. Hey, he's playing against guys who are going to be bagging groceries next week. To me, Streveler does not pick who he gets to go against. He's just simply playing the game. And again, if the Jets wanted to face tougher competition, they could play him earlier in this Giants preseason game, and then maybe they'll get another taste. But to me, I am 100% on the Streveler bandwagon. Mike White has not shown me anything since that Bengals game, but we will see. Right now, I'm on the Streveler train, but we will see what happens. Mike White will have another opportunity as well during this Giants game. Barney, this is an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it. Why do backups seem to do better with LaFleur's system than QB1s? I don't think it's as simple as just backups, right? Unknown backups. So like Joe Flacco played well. Josh Johnson played well. Mike White, obviously, in the singular game against the Bengals played well. So to go through each of them, I think Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson are veterans. They've been there, done that. They've seen a million offenses, and they know how to move the football. So in a LaFleur offense that I don't want to say complicated, but I don't want to say simple, stupid either. It's an NFL offense. And they're like, yeah, okay. In the LaFleur offense, there's a lot of throws that are just schemed open. So in theory, they're just easy, complete. Okay, there's a guy, hit, boom, and then 5, 7, 5, 8, 9, 12, 15, 5, boom, touchdown, field goal, whatever. So the ball could just kind of move. So for these backup quarterbacks, Flacco, experience, Josh Johnson, experience. So while Mike White was not experienced, which is the plot twist at the end of the Goosebumps story. Well, Paul, he wasn't experienced. Why did he have success? I think the Jets coaching staff did a great job of saying, Mike White, we do not need you to be Superman. Be Clark Kent. Just throw the ball to A, B, C, E. And every play, go through it. A, B, C, E, A, B, C. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Mike White followed the script and was good. And then once people figured him out, he was bad. But I think ultimately, to answer the question about the backups, is I think it was veteran savvy, and I think it was great instruction by Mike LaFleur. Zach Wilson, his blessing is his curse. He is a uber talented player. He has the ability to make that pro day throw all the time. But the problem is he doesn't want to make that pro day throw all the time. Or, well, he wants to, but the Jets want to make sure that he doesn't, that he plays it within itself. They want him to operate the offense, but not put handcuffs on him where Zach Wilson can't do the magical things that they drafted him to do. So it is a fine line, and we have to see in the regular season whether or not he's learned. Because pre-injury, obviously, he was throwing interceptions to everybody like Oprah Winfrey out there. You get a pick, you get a pick, you get a pick. I mean, a very giving mood for the holiday season a little bit early from Zach Wilson. However, we do not want him as Jet fans to be that giving. And then after the injury, of course, seeing some of these quarterbacks had that success, he was able to rein it in. Now, some people have criticized him, quote unquote, reining it in, saying he had a training wheels offense. He didn't throw it deep often. I would point to the Tampa Bay game. A lot of NFL throws in that contest. And you can look at others, but that's probably the pinnacle of, wow, look at where Zach Wilson can be if he's on. So that's kind of my answer to the question, Barney, but I think it's a phenomenal question indeed. Afrim here. Hello, first time on. By the way, welcome to the show. Love the Joe Klecko pick. Great work there, and welcome to the program. Who is going to be the surprise cut? I imagine what you're going to say. That's a great question. Let's see. Surprise cut, probably one of the biggest ones. Maybe a varying surprise to whoever's asking the question. Vinny Curry, a guy they gave guaranteed money to, and he is a great story, and he was supposed to be a cog last year. He's been connected to the Jets organization for years. I believe he's going to be cut. I believe the Jets are going to go with younger guys, whether it's Jabari Zuniga, Bradley Anaya has really popped. A guy I've loved throughout this entire process. I just never thought he would be able to make the roster just too deep. But with all his recent playmaking ability, who knows what he will be able to do. I think a surprise would be Vinny Curry. And I don't know how other people feel about some of the members of the 2020 draft class, but LaMichael Pirine, I fully anticipate to get dumped. Ashton Davis is possible. That would be still a surprise because of his special teams ability and athleticism. But Ashton Davis, really the 2020 draft class imploding. Jabari Zuniga could potentially be either a trade candidate or cut candidate. So Zuniga, Mims, Davis, Vinny Curry, I think is another one. And they're going to cut some NFLers off that defensive line for sure. One I would be surprised by is Nathan Shepard. Now, the Jet fans think Nathan Shepard sucks, but the Jets coaching staff loves Nathan Shepard. They say he's, quote, king of strain. So I would still be surprised if they cut him with how much they like him, even though there's some other guys in the roster, Tanzel Smart, and Jonathan Marshall and others you could fight for. So those would be a couple. But Vinny Curry is probably the biggest one I feel very confident about is getting cut. Unfortunately, because of a lot of injuries that kind of set him back this offseason. Let's see. Let's keep going here. At Boy Green, Stephen Angle. I'd like to think that the plays we're going to run this year are the ones where Cager acted like he was blocking and broke into the middle of the field and got hit. I will tell you this, Lawrence Cager has been super impressive to me, and I tweeted back in March, you guys can fact check the tweets, baby, that I said Cager was my surprise guy to make the final 53-man roster back in the spring, and I'm still pounding that gosh darn table. So remember who Cager fan numero uno is, if you may. Here's the thing with Cager. I think he'll make it as the fourth tight end. I would keep more tight ends at wide receiver if it was up to me. Sneak peek to my 53-man roster projection. He's a talented player. Obviously, blocking, you're not going to just learn overnight. He transitioned to tight end back, I believe, in January was the official positional change. And then he added a bunch of weight to his frame. The receiving ability is so unique. And I think Connor Rogers said this on the Badlands podcast that compare Lawrence Cager as tight end 3 or 4 to any other NFL rosters tight end 3 or 4, and Cager is more intriguing. So I'm keeping Cager on the roster. Again, the blocking will not happen overnight, but he could fill that Tyler Conklin role as a primary receiving threat, and maybe he makes the roster from that standpoint. I think he is a very interesting weapon. Let's see. Let's go to Boomtown 89ers. Hard not to be the number one when two teams straight haven't thrown to his side of the field yet. Yeah, Sauce, again, no one's throwing at him. And I think that is going to change in the NFL regular season, I will say, because people are going to test him. They're like, who's this Sauce guy? Let's take a dive into the deep end of the pool. Now, maybe they're burned by the Sauce. We all know that is possible. or maybe they kind of get him a little bit because he's a rookie and maybe overconfident. I don't know. He toes that line very finely, where on one side he's incredibly humble and he stays after practice and asks so many questions to his teammates. On the other hand, he's a cocky son of a gun. He's like, yeah, I'm talking trash. Screw your mama. What'd you say about my mama? And they're going all crazy in camp. But he has that fine line of both humbleness and cockiness that is very interesting. But yeah, no one's throwing at him, but that's going to change once we get to the regular season, I believe. Let's see. MM Morse, if the leg misses 40 yards in, everyone should be fired. That's probably a little aggressive, MM Morse, but again, Greg Zuerlein has had essentially a career field goal percentage of about 82%, but again, he's had Pro Bowl and All-Pro campaigns in his past. Both of those came in the same season, but no, again, I like Greg Zuerlein more than Eddie Pinheiro. I'm fine riding the veteran-ness there over the unknown. Let's keep going. Yes, Robert S. So let's go to that. DJ Reed practicing again. Quinnen Williams practicing. Dwayne Brown practicing. All back, which is great. DJ has been practicing for a little bit, but Quinnen and Dwayne back today. Quinnen obviously has been out for a little bit. Robert Saleh gave the, of course, best shape of his life. Yeah. Stop me if you've heard that one before. But they really believe that Quinnen Williams is going to take this monster leap, and they will pay him then next offseason a rich bag of cash. Now, Dwayne Brown, of course, a veteran tackle and somebody that is going to play immediately at left tackle, and they're going to continue to work him out. And with the week and a half, 2 weeks left until the regular season, September 11th, which, again, we will be there for, of course, and hopefully I meet a lot of you guys there, that he will be ramped up by then to play. And, of course, Dwayne Brown, and, by the way, the entire 5 offensive line practiced today for the Jets at training camp, which is phenomenal, of course, because they're getting that continuity. They have not gone all offseason with all the moving around. And they will play against the New York Giants at 5 and all the starters for that matter. But Dwayne Brown should be ready in terms of a rep perspective. Saleh saying, quote, phenomenal shape for Dwayne Brown. So, yes, all of those are good. I think DJ Reed is like the most overrated guy of all the free agents the Jets got. Ant Jets 82, only 23 likes, 60 in the chat. Let's show Paul some love. Come on, people. Ratio. Okay, if you're sitting in the chat right now, what harm does it do to hit that old thumbs up button? And hell, if you're feeling froggy and you like pressing buttons, smack the subscribe button as well for more great Jets content. And just to give you a sneak peek, if you're new to the channel right now, you're a new person of the 86 plus that are in the chat right now that are watching or listening later after the fact. We do live streams, which is this weekly New York Jets podcast, a brand new episode every Wednesday live here on the show. We have phenomenal guests. We've had Jericho Cotchery on the show this offseason. We've had Tyler Conklin, current Jet, on the show this offseason. Connor Hughes on the show. Connor Rogers, Trevor Sikkema, Draft Guys, ESPN, Jordan Reed, NFL Network. We've had superstars all over the place. So superstars, live streams, and of course, our pre-recorded conversation for members of our YouTube, Boy Green Super Fan Club, and others. So again, show your support for the channel. Appreciate the shout out. Ant Jets 82, baby. Love it. Whoa, we got a million comments in here. So let me keep catching up here. And again, feel free to super chat at any time to cut the line and guarantee your question gets answered. Let me keep peeking through here. Let's see. Johnny Reb, what do you think about more money has flowed into the Jets over 5.5 than any other team, but the line hasn't moved? Yeah, that's an interesting fun fact I've heard a lot about a lot of money flowing in there. And then specifically with the Ravens game with Joe Flacco now looking at the starters, so I was pushing +7. So again, that's a juicy line week 1. Jets at home, that home underdog you really got to like. But no, again, I think it is the unknown about Zach Wilson, which again, you're getting all the hype with certain analysts about Zach Wilson's kind of chutzpah and things of that nature, but I don't expect the 5.5 to move, which is fine because I think that's some easy money. Look at the schedule. Think about some of those games. Bears, Jaguars, Lions, Dolphins twice. So throw that in anyway. The Patriots twice. Throw that in everywhere. Again, I know the Patriots have kicked the Jets' tuchus over the last 12, 15 years or so, specifically in this quote-unquote rivalry. But you start counting up some of those games on the docket. We didn't even mention Jacoby Brissett Browns, Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Pittsburgh. So, again, there is a lot happening there from that perspective. with all those guys and teams that are available, then I start going, I can count 5.5 on one hand. And I know I only have 5 fingers on one hand, but you catch my drift. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Old Dave Etchenberry here. Park should be our free safety. Joyner is overrated and not available. Hasn't played good football in 2 years. Yeah, he's been injured and different positions. Like, I don't know what the hell the Las Vegas Raiders were thinking. They played him a little slot corner action. So he's played out of position. He's been injured. So I think Joyner is completely overrated as well. And I don't know why the Jets coaching staff is just like, yeah, LaMarcus Joyner. I don't feel great about it, but maybe the Jets coaching staff knows something I don't. Saleh, by the way, speaking about the safety combination last week, said that could be a pretty good damn tandem of Whitehead and Joyner. Well, I hope he's right. That's for sure. MM Morris, how about Anai? Yeah, I wrote a great story about him today. Feel free to check it out. Heavy on Jets. That's where you can check out all my New York Jets articles. And Bradley and I confirmed, and so did Robert Saleh after the game against the Falcons. Again, he had the strip sack, he had the fumble recovery for a 30-yard touchdown, had some pressures in the game. Former Utah product, former 5th-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys, a guy I loved a lot since the Senior Bowl days. He's a talented player. And this offseason, he chose to leave the Dallas Cowboys to sign with the New York Jets with a reserve future contract, despite the fact, as Saleh noted, that their defensive line was deep. But I studied the tape, and he had the Cowboys and apparently several other options, according to him and his agent. And he said no to all those options to come to the Jets. So the Jets win the bidding war for this kid. And that seems to me to mean a lot to Saleh, that Anai, quote unquote, bet on the Jets and vice versa. And they may choose to bet on him as we approach 53-man roster cut. So again, Anai is a talented dude. He's got a little bit of wiggle. And I think he is a player that I would certainly make happen on the 53-man roster. Now, as Zach Rosenblatt was trying to talk about potentially who could make it one or the other over in terms of Anai making it or not, he explored potential trade opportunities. Jabbar Zanugi getting traded, Vinny Curry getting traded. Maybe that opens up a spot right there as well. So 100%, I would love to see Bradley and I make this roster. Let's go snowball here. Does Nick Bond stare? Do we go 4 tight ends? I believe we go 4 tight ends. I believe we get CJ Uzama, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, Lawrence Cager. So I believe we go 4 tight ends over the fullback, to be honest with you, because I think Ruckert could play some of those fullback roles. So that's my gut there. Let's keep going here. I see the Boxers Briefs thing is going viral in the comments. Very nice, by the way. I happen to be wearing boxers now, but I am a Briefs guy. But that's neither here nor there, and perhaps TMI for all the people in the chat. Feel free to comment in if you're watching live here on the show. Again, this is an interactive program. Make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, and of course, feel free to show your support by either joining the YouTube Boy Green Super Fan Club. That's our YouTube membership club with a lot of cool perks, or Super Chat to skip the line. Let's keep going here. Dave Etchenberry, the starting 5-0 line cohesiveness starts tomorrow. Joint practices, by the way, with the Giants start tomorrow. Let's hope they can find the groove quickly. There's no way for me. Randy Mueller, by the way, another great interview we had this week, former NFL general manager and executive of the year. Really cool insight from a national perspective on the New York Jets. He believes that you can simulate the live bullets with offensive line, with joint practices and a couple other things. You know, I will respectfully disagree with Randy. I don't believe there's any way to simulate the live bullets. You just have to work together to create that chemistry. I don't think there's any way to try to replicate that. There's some things you can do off the field to get to know each other better and things of that nature, but you need actual reps, in my opinion. Okay. Big Green, Bam Knight should stay 100%. I love Bam Knight. I would keep 4 running backs. I'd keep, obviously, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Tevin Coleman, Bam Knight. So I'd keep 4 running backs, no fullback, 4 tight ends, and then you start playing the roster game with other people. But that is my take. Let's see. Steven Engel, I think speedy receivers will get the best of Sauce. I don't know if that's true. I mean, because speedy I would indicate to me smaller receivers, and he's lanky and has makeup speed. So I would say probably not. It would have to be, and I hear Tyreek Hill. Again, Tyreek Hill should probably give the business to Sauce. Tyreek Hill is among the best receivers in all football, and Sauce is unproven. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison. Tyreek would torch anybody, but let's see what he ends up doing. Robert S., that's a good point. Cager, you can play as the 6th wide receiver, could also be used as a 4th tight end. I don't think they will actually herky-jerky him with positional responsibility. I think they made him a tight end for a reason. But yes, again, I would keep the fourth tight end over the extra receiver because there's not receivers I believe in at the bottom end of the roster, despite some of the fun stuff. Trin the Great with a super chat. And again, appreciate all your support for the channel, my friend. And again, that's the special color of his chat. He threw a little tip of the jar, which is available to all of you on YouTube if you choose to super chat and support the channel. Fun question. Who's Sauce picking first in the season? I don't think there's going to be enough opportunities against Lamar Jackson. Not that he's going to throw the ball, but I think the Ravens are going to turn their hat backwards and say, we're going to pound the ball down your throat until you can stop it, and that will be the ultimate Jets run defense stop. And they have like Mark Andrews, unless Sauce is covering Mark Andrews at tight end, which he won't be, spoiler alert. I just don't think there's going to be enough opportunities. If we go to week two, Jacoby Brissett, let me throw that one out there. I don't. That's probably not sexy, right? He probably wants to check things off his bucket list like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, but probably Jacoby Brissett is my guess, but he's going to have a lot of opportunities. Joe Burrow gets a little willy-nilly, although he looked really good at the end of the year prior to that little mini interception run. Obviously, the rookie or Mitch Trubisky is another option. So there are some quarterback, Tua, of course, week 5. So there's a couple of guys he can pick off. But I'm sure the ones he has circled are like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back weeks in week 6 and 7. Those could be interesting. But Jacoby Brissett would be my guess right now. Trin great. Laying down the line. I think Lamar Jackson, not going to lie. How great would that be? Instantly getting that. I mean, Sauce would be, they'd fall in love with him pretty quick. Stephen Angle, having all the starters play Sunday scares the shit out of me. I just want a full healthy team entering week 1, as do I, Stephen. I think they need some level of work. It would be dangerous, for lack of a better word, to go through. So Joe Flacco obviously is a starting quarterback week 1 at this point until we're told otherwise. So he didn't play in the Eagles game. He didn't play in the Falcons game. And in theory, if he didn't play in the Giants game, he basically hasn't played since when he had spot duty last season. So I don't think that's ideal. So to give him somewhat of a dress rehearsal 2 weeks ahead of the season, I think is important. It scares the crap out of me too, because obviously none of us want injuries, but it is the nature of the beast at the end of the day. So it is something that has to be considered there. But again, it's football. You can't bubble wrap everybody. You're going to have to play eventually. You can't play scared. But the Jets have done a great job for the most part of keeping everybody healthy this offseason. Dave Etchenberry, I beat the hit like button like a rented mule. Wow. You love that kind of passion in the YouTube chat. I love that. Yeah, you know what? Sergeant Mike has it here on the Stephen A. Smith thing. I would be remiss if I did not play that clip on the show. So let's get that, everybody. I'm going to go to, in case you missed it, I don't know how many of you even listened to Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith appeared on First Take and just randomly took a stray bullet shot at the New York Jets. And let's play the clip. It went viral this week on social media. And here it is. Here's the clip. It's currently at 27,000 views on my Twitter account. So let's play this clip. It's going to be Stephen A. Smith absolutely ripping the Jets for no freaking apparent reason, but nonetheless, Jets are a easy punching bag for some teams. So let's throw that up on the big board, and then I'll answer your question, Sergeant, on this. But here's a quick clip on Stephen A. Smith on First Take, randomly just making fun of the Jets. Here we go.
Well, we ain't going to count the Jets because they just stink. Yeah. We all know. Yep. And we know when we're driving down to New Jersey, up the New Jersey Turnpike, and we smell that stench sifting through East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's from the MetLife Stadium locker room of the New York Jets. We all know this. We all know this. It's a given. We understand it, okay? We got that.
Wow. So ain't gonna count the Jets because they stink. We all know this. There's a stench that emits from their locker room. To me, here's the thing, and I really feel for Stephen A. Smith, not in this particular case, but in general. They spread this man too thin. He's one of the highest paid employees at ESPN. They say, Stephen, what's your take on golf? What's your take on boxing? What's your take on basketball? And he has some insights into a variety of these sports. But by spreading him so thin and putting him out there to just have a take on literally everything, like Boy, Green had peanut butter in toast. That is blasphemous. Of course you need jelly on that bread. Like, he just has a take, seemingly, for anything. And the fact of the matter is they spread him so thin that he has been put in a lot of bad positions to say stupid things. This I am not going to forgive him for. With Stephen A. Smith coming out and simply saying the Jets suck, we all know this, and providing no analysis, no insight, no understanding of what has transpired this offseason. But at the end of the day, folks, and I will answer your question specifically, Sergeant Mike, here in a second on YouTube, that the fact of the matter is this, that the Jets are not going to get, for the majority, the benefit of the doubt from the media until the Jets win football games. They have one winning season in the last 11 years. They have not been to the playoffs in 11 years. The Jets have not won a September game since 2018. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I mean, it's been awful. The Jets have been out of seasons early, and they have not won much at all in the last decade plus. So with that being said, they are the low-hanging fruit. They're the easy team to just whack. Again, in this conversation, to give you the full context, they were talking about the AFC East on the first take. And not just winning the AFC East, but just kind of the natural hierarchy. Like, of course, the Bills are really good. Stephen A. is like, oh, man, the New England Patriots. Oh, I like that Miami Dolphins team. They did a lot. And then he said, I'm not even going to count the Jets in the AFC East because they are terrible and blasphemous and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But anywho, let's get your question up here, Sergeant Mike. Hi, Paul. ESPN pay rapid-fire idiots Russo and Stephen A. Smith, who know nothing about sports. Sincerely, you've got the rapid-fire and are wicked smart. Keep it up. ESPN will get hip eventually. Yeah, again, they could say what they want, but hopefully we're keeping all these receipts. The reason a lot of people ask me, Boy Green, why do you tweet this out? Why do you? So I heard I didn't watch First Take, and by the way, I normally don't at all. But I heard through the grapevines that Stephen A. Smith said something stupid about the Jets. And I'm like, you know what? Just for my sake of keeping receipts, I'm going to grab that clip and throw it out on Twitter, and it's gone viral. And I've done that throughout this offseason. You may have noticed Brady Quinn saying stupid crap about the Jets. There have been guys who have said positive things. RG3, Dan Orlovsky. There's been a couple of members that have been, quote-unquote, invited to the cookout with their takes on the Jets and their belief that they're going to take the next step. But the reason why I tweet this out, the reason I provide a platform for some of these people like Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't need my help with a platform, obviously, is we're keeping receipts. Because when the Jets turn it around, and I believe that is inevitable, and I believe it's going to happen this year, but we'll see what happens, is that we're going to be able to grab these receipts and shove them in the face. Now, I know we don't want to give credit or credence to a division rival in the Buffalo Bills, but obviously the Buffalo Bills are a very good example. For 17 years, this team didn't make the playoffs. They were the laughingstock of the league. They finally turned it around. They made the playoffs and then lost. And then the following year finally won a playoff game, and Sean McDermott has had a lot of success and did have a lot of success with the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills Twitter account did a marvelous job of keeping the receipts of teams making fun of the Bills for years and then throwing it in their face after their success. And I am hoping that the Jet fans, the Jet Nation, can do the same exact thing. All you're going to have to do is Twitter search all my videos, because Stephen A. Smith, Brady Quinn, all these people that have lambasted the Jets this offseason, and for years for that matter, I hope that we can continue to give them the business when it matters most. So Sergeant Mike, thanks for bringing that up so we could bring that up on the show. Okay, let's go to Rivka Board. Hiya, Boy Green. I was wondering if you know anything about why the Jets converted Cage from wide receiver to tight end. He seems to be a better candidate for wide receiver 6 to me. Good question, Rivka. And I will say this in general for all the converted players. Kai Nakua, the safeties, Hamza Nasruddin, Jamie and Sherwood. The Jets believed that Cager's better shot at making the roster was at tight end. Now, was that the case in January prior to Garrett Wilson, prior to re-signing Braxton Berrios? Probably not. And again, at tight end, well, actually probably true, because at tight end, remember, they didn't have Uzama yet. They didn't have Conklin yet or Rucker. So they believed that Cager had a better shot of making the team at tight end than wide receiver. That's what they believed. Now, the Jets, of course, would then invest at the tight end position because they couldn't rely on Cager to just transform into this animal, that they had multiple tight ends that they invested into. Nonetheless, I still believe that Cager's best shot, if you look at his NFL career so far, again, an undrafted free agent, super talented player playing at both Georgia and Miami. He has all the talent in the world, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. One way to potentially stay healthy is add some beef to your frame and dedicate yourself to the weight room. And by doing that, He was kind of making a transition to a new position. Not kind of, he was. And thus that extra weight maybe could maintain his health. And so far it has. So Rivka, to be honest with you, he converted in January, and now they believe that he can make this happen. But you can't be herky-jerky. With a conversion like this, or kind of Kawada linebacker, or anyone that Felipe Franks for the Falcons, from quarterback to tight end, like, you have to have a level of conviction with these conversions, because if you start getting wishy-washy, like wide receiver injuries happen, you're like, all right, Kate, you're back to wide receiver. Like, these guys will have no chance of making rosters. You have to have a level of conviction, and I believe the Jets do. So good question here, but Cager is just this talented player that had a clear path at the tight end position. I think that's just the easiest way to say that. Let's see. Braden NZL on YouTube. I hope our O-line is time to gel for the season opener. If not, I hope it doesn't take too long. And maybe that's why the Jets are like, you know what? Zach Wilson can wait. And by the time maybe he comes in either week 2 or week 3, the offensive line is fully gelled and he's ready to go. So that could be a way to interpret it. Rivka, back to Rivka. I like all your questions so far. I love the Jets logo too. Do you think Saleh Ulbrich will adjust their defense when they face Lamar Jackson? Otherwise, we could be looking at a massive blowout. We could be. I'm going to be there week 1. How are they going to respond? To me, Rivka, the thing I would say is this. The Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens have a very unique offense, and I'm glad that the Jets have had 4 months to prepare for it. So it is an oddity. It is a unique offense to prepare for, but they've had plenty of time to prepare for it. Now, there is no perfect solution to Lamar Jackson, but you want to try to rein in the broken plays, the ones where he looks and nothing's there, and then he starts doing Lamar Jackson crap, and he's obviously a lot faster, our defensive linemen, our linebackers, and anything, and that's where he runs buck wild. So there has to be a level of discipline here. I'd probably do a QB keeper with either a Quincy Williams or maybe even a safety linebacker, so he could try to keep up with Lamar Jackson. But yes, they are not, I believe, again, I don't have a crystal ball here, there's no way they're running out their normal run defense from last year, or else they're going to be crucified. So we will see what happens there. Let's keep looking here. R&R, Lawson will make the D go. We can only hope so. Again, he will get his first preseason reps and opportunity against the Giants. He will be playing it. Let's keep looking through the final comments here so I don't lose anybody. Let's see. Oh, that's a terrible one, but why not bring him up? Graham Cracker. Wow, that's unique, and I love the G in the name. Boy Green, I already know how this season will play out with Zach. He'll be painfully bad, underwhelming. Don't waste the season. Start Flacco. Flacco season, baby. I didn't know these people existed, but I knew they did. Graham Cracker. And by the way, I haven't had a Graham Cracker like 20 years. I think I was a kid last time I had a Graham Cracker. It's a fine snack, a little dry. You need a good drink with it. But I will tell you this. I don't think any of us know how the season's going to play out. Does Zach Wilson stay healthy? Is Joe Flacco the second coming of Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015? I can't answer any of these questions. Do they have some level of health throughout the season? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. So I nor you has any crystal ball for that. But maybe you will be keeping receipts of your own. You'll screenshot this and bring this back up in a couple of months that, Paul, I told you. And that's possible. But I don't believe so. Daniel Murphy on YouTube. Hey, Paul, how you liking Madden so far? Just caught myself a copy today. Well, Daniel, I'll tell you this. It was kind of a surprise how everything came together because I bought Madden for my PS4. I've had a PS4 forever. It was a graduation gift a bunch of years ago, if my memory serves me correctly. And so I bought the normal Madden, and really there's been some roster updates, and I thought the game was very fluid in a very good way, that I thought it's looked good. However, an opportunity presented itself for me to get a PS5, and then with the bundle, they gave me the PS5 version of the game, which I hear is completely different from the PS4 version. So I will have to get back to you, Daniel, on that, and hopefully I get some time later tonight to kind of dive into that PS5 and also the new Madden video game. So TBD. The PS4 version, to me, by the way, super fluid, looks great, and is a great model, one of my favorite Maddens to date. But we will see if I feel the same way on the PS5 version. Let's see. I have abused the like button. Now I have a restraining order. Not possible, Trend the Great. So keep smashing that like button, everybody, as we get through the final comments here. I'm just trying to scroll as quickly as possible, see who stands out real quick. Let's see. Thomas Cahill. Case Keenum is better than the Jets quarterback. I roll. That's trash. Joe Flacco, you could say what you want. He is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. That's true. That's just facts. So, yeah. Let's keep going. I can't. Yeah, maybe there's nothing else here. I see a lot of you guys talk to each other, which I love, by the way. Stephen Engel, Cager converted to tight end on his last team. He came here as a tight end. From what I understand from both the Jets media relations and also the Jets press release that came out, he converted to tight end here. He may have flirted at tight end elsewhere, but with the Jets, who had previously been a receiver, he converted to tight end according to the media relations people I spoke with and the press release. So you may have to have it out with them with that conversation, but that is what I was told back in January. And the story ran in January that the Jets had the converted tight end. Let's keep looking out here and getting final comments here. Another super chat coming in. Okay, so Aldo, skip the line. Jets NY 102. No doubt Flacco is beating the Ravens week 1. We got a lot of revenge games. Baker Mayfield against the Browns. Russell Wilson against Seattle. That's Monday Night Football. That's going to be juicy. And Joe Flacco against the Ravens. And oh my gosh, I can't imagine the level of my emotions if and when I'm there. I will be there. There's no if there. But I'm there and Joe Flacco beats the Ravens in this weird quasi-storyline game we never thought was possible. We all thought Zach Wilson obviously was going to play. I could see it, Jets NY 102. I completely can see that coming to fruition. Again, the Ravens are not this impossible team. They are a Super Bowl contender. They're a very talented team, but it's not an impossible game. I could completely see the Jets staying in the game. Joe Flacco moves the ball. Maybe the defense getting sliced up a little bit, and then they have some second half adjustments, and Joe Flacco keeping us in the game and then making a play. Somebody does at the end of that game to steal one. I think that is possible. Let's keep it going. Okay, and there we go. One last one. Thomas Cahill. What is happening with Irv Charles? I like him. He's a big guy. He got injured, unfortunately, during the Falcons game. Hopefully that's not too serious. I don't believe they were asked about him. Bigger guy, like him. He's had an interesting college story. We'll see what the Jets do. I believe the Jets ultimately trade Denzel Mims. So I believe if that happens, that potentially opens up a final spot because your 5 are locked in. You're getting Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios, Corey Davis, and Jeff Smith. Those guys are all making it. Is there a 6th? If there is a 6th, it could be Irv Charles. It could be Calvin Jackson Jr. It could be Denzel Mims. It could be one of those 3, or they just keep 5. So those are the 3 that are in the running, and the other 5 are locks. So we will see ultimately what happens there from that perspective. Everybody, what a fun show. Late night on a Wednesday. Normally we do this show during the afternoon, but we had even more people than normal because all you freaks are out of work, which I absolutely love. And I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. I do want to give a special shout out here, and you guys will see it in the YouTube description below of this video. So I really hope you guys can support a brand new sponsor here on the show. And my boy is Roshan Joshi. He is a fellow Jets fan that's been in our comments before. And you guys can learn more information about Roshan Joshi in the comments down below. There's a link. You can check out my new partnership with him. He hosts a free Zoom call every week, and you can learn how to become more successful on a weekly basis where he brings on guys that have had success in the world, and you can learn from him on a free Zoom call. Again, there's nothing to lose. Join that free Zoom call every week. Again, information down in the YouTube description below on how you could just be more successful in life. There's Q&A, talking to cool weekly guests who have had great success in life. I mean, we can only absorb more information from people. Again, Roshan Joshi is a fellow Jets fan. He's got an awesome business, and you can check out his free Zoom call. Free. There is absolutely no strings attached. It's a free Zoom call, and you can let him know that Boy Green sent you, and make sure you support the channel by supporting my good friend Roshan Joshi. Again, Details down in the video below. My man, my guy. And make sure you guys check it out. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Jet Zone. We're going to have some special guests joining us on the YouTube channel, so make sure you hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. Like the video, hit subscribe, and of course, this is always available, the audio after effect, on Sports War Radio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you later this week for Jets Giants. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody. Peace.